Bud, I kind of like, he convinces me that he's going to win the fight because he's such a believer in his own ability, and he's very convincing. And then you see the presser yesterday, and I thought Canelo looked really well. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, he's a big...
First Crawford to win this fight.
Why is that? What changed?
Because I know Crawford, he's got the heart, he's got the speed, the skills, and he's gonna go out there. I was thinking he put up a good first 6 rounds, but then Canelo will start picking it up. But now I think Crawford will go for I think Crawford will get. I'm picking Crawford.
I'm going with Terrence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terrence Crawford's wheels and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect to Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I've not been against Terrence Crawford with nobody else. You got to show me that you can do it.
The boxing world is buzzing with concern, and many believe Canelo's time at the top is ending. Ahead of the showdown, experts and former champions are throwing their support behind Terrence Crawford. Crawford, who holds a flawless 41-0 record, is jumping 2 weight classes from welterweight to super middleweight. A win would make him the first male fighter in the 4-belt era to become undisputed in 3 divisions. Observers point to Crawford's sharp skills and perfect record, while noting Alvarez's slowing pace and advancing age. More and more voices are now saying the Mexican star could be nearing the end of his legendary run.
Defend him. Terrence Crawford has an opportunity to be in a 5 division and the only person to win all 4 belts in 3 separate weight divisions. Why is Saul taking this fight? And I'm going to tell you why. Because there's some things in life more important than just the belts. And that 20-year career that Terrence Crawford made, that all that he has, is very valuable. Very, very valuable. He had 1 foot out the game. And if he can be the man to defeat him, because remember, if Saul beats him, Terrence Crawford was the first man to get all 4 belts in 2 separate weight divisions. Yes, I beat that champion. Yes, I beat the multiple division champion, and he had the...
Boxing's top names are standing firmly behind Terrence "Bud" Crawford. Even icons like Floyd Mayweather Jr. call him the sport's true pound-for-pound king, praising his sharp ring intelligence and ability to adjust to any style. Andre Ward also highlights Crawford's mix of smart strategy and perfect timing, adding weight to the growing belief that Bud has everything needed to take Canelo's crown.
But in terms of his resume, the opponents that he fought, right? And people say he fought this name and fought that name. Where did he fight that name when he fought him? He 32. He coming off 2 losses. He 35. Kovalev, when he fought Kovalev was cooked. He wasn't the crusher. He wasn't the undefeated guy. He had lost that. And I'm not knocking the hustle, but you lose me when you start saying I'm the best fighter in the world. Or you lose me when you feel like you don't have to fight the best, but then everybody else got to fight the best. Canelo is a really good fighter, man. But you don't really know how good you are until you fight the other best. Like even Dimitri Bivol, the dude you lost to. You got to give him credit for going up in weight, but I feel like he miscalculated though.
You got Bud Crawford and Canelo. They're slated to fight in September.
It's gonna be an interesting fight. Honestly, it's kind of 50-50 in my opinion. Obviously, Canelo's got the weight and natural size advantage, but Bud's very technically skilled and sharp.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a good fight.
Former unified middleweight champion Kelly Pavlik lays out a clear strategy built on non-stop pressure right from the start. He advises Crawford to take control of at least 3 of the first 4 rounds to break Canelo's rhythm and drain his energy. Pavlik points out that once Alvarez is pushed out of his comfort zone, signs of fatigue usually show up by the 7th round. He also suggests switching often between orthodox and southpaw to keep Canelo off balance and make the Mexican star feel like he's constantly trying to catch up. In January 2024.
Stay in Canelo's ass a little early on, put Canelo behind, right? Even if it's 3 out of the first 4 rounds, because when Canelo has to fight, okay, when Canelo has to step it up, after 7 rounds, he starts to fade a little bit. We've seen that with Bivol. We've seen it in a lot of his fights with Triple G. You know, when Canelo could control the fight and the ring generalship, like, yeah, he could fight 12 rounds pretty good. But when Canelo gets pushed early on in the fight, he starts to fade muscle endurance-wise. So if I was Crawford, I would kind of stay in his ass a little bit on, you know, the early rounds and make him have to play catch-up in rounds 3, 4, 5. And then by round 7, that's where, you know, he can really step it up.
Former 2-division champion and current analyst Tim Bradley has thrown his support behind Crawford over Canelo, ranking Crawford's skills among the very best. He praised Crawford's speed, power, timing, and adaptability, expressing confidence that he can still win at super middleweight. Bradley even hinted at knowing a hidden factor that gives Crawford the edge, though he chose not to reveal it. For Bradley, this goes beyond opinion. He's convinced Crawford's all-around ability will be too much for Canelo, setting the stage for a historic shift in the sport.
One more thing. It don't matter if Canelo is on that. He ain't beat no Terrence Crawford. You heard it here first. Plus, I look at the performances of Canelo. I look at his last performances. I mean, they've been all right, you know. They ain't been like, you know, wow, you know, blew me away. So I'm not really worried about all of that. And the same thing goes with Crawford. I know he's with Snack, and I know some news came out this week and all of that, but I personally believe that Snack is clean. I think it's a conflict of interest, the fact that, hey, he knows how to beat the system, quote unquote, Victor Conte, but at the same time, I think Snack, you got products going around the world, this and that. I mean, all these athletes are testing. They're not testing anything or positive by using Snack at all. So I think they're safe. There's no doubt about it. So with that being said, I'm not worried about that. As long as they testing, I'm good.
Canelo is so predictable, dude. You know a hook is coming. You know when the right hand is coming. You know he's going down to the body. He gives it away. There's a tell with him. There really is. And it's usually off the high guard. Where he comes in, he marches forward, then boom. Crawford's going to be able to see all of that. He's too knowledgeable inside the ring. His IQ is too high. If he can avoid the shots, avoid the big bum, and not get knocked out, he can outbox Canelo. It doesn't matter. He don't have to knock him out. He can outbox him, outpoint him. So that's my opinion, bro.
Former two-division champion and respected analyst Sean Porter shares similar views, highlighting Crawford's sharp adaptability and accuracy. Still, he admits concern about whether Crawford can handle Canelo's power across a full 12 rounds. Porter notes that although Crawford has faced big punchers in the past, Canelo's strength, constant pressure, and dangerous left hook make him a different challenge. He also points out Alvarez's habit of fading in the later rounds, stressing that Crawford needs to get through the early stages safely to keep his chances alive.
Oh, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, you know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But, you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terrence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo have, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, and we see how that panned out, you know what I mean? So talk about conditioning. It ain't no secret. We all can look and say, yo, right around 9 rounds is when Canelo starts to really decline in his punch output. Statistically, look at it. Punch output just significantly dives. This fight, what we didn't see from Canelo, because he didn't have to do it, we didn't see him fight in spurts. He's going to fight in spurts against Terrence Crawford. Terrence is going to challenge him both offensively, defensively, and also not only challenge that, but challenge that gas tank.
That's very much. See, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to question Crawford. You don't have to question.
And what do we know about Bud? Bud got it at the end of the fight.
Stephen A. Smith predicts Crawford will outbox Canelo and win on the scorecards with his movement and ring IQ. Speaking on Andre Ward's All the Smoke podcast, Smith confidently stated that Crawford will take a decision victory over Alvarez. While he respects Canelo's greatness and knockout power, Smith believes Crawford's speed, footwork, jab, and ability to switch stances give him the tools to control the fight over 12 rounds. He stresses that although Canelo is comfortable at the weight and dangerous with his power, the smarter path is for Crawford to outpoint him with skill and agility.
I think that Crawford would be the superior boxer, as great as Canelo is, as seasoned as he is, with 65 fights, if I recall, on his record. I think boxing-wise, he's going to give Canelo fits. I don't believe he can hurt Canelo. I just believe that Crawford hasn't been in the ring with anybody this powerful. Again, Crawford is the superior boxer. But if he can't hurt Canelo, you can't keep him off of him. He says it's a legacy fight, and he believes he can do the same, and he wants to do the same against a fighter the caliber of Canelo Alvarez, which is why we haven't really seen him in the ring against anybody else. Fortunately, that's the business of boxing. He's a victim of it, not a villain.
You got a love for boxing.
Yes, love boxing.
Who gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest
Crawford.
fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating, Crawford. I'm not even hesitating.
Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud.
Right.
It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always
prepared.
He's always ready. He's always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter, though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster.
Even former two-division British champion Amir Khan, who has faced both fighters, strongly supports Terrence Crawford over Canelo Alvarez. Khan highlights Crawford's exceptional boxing IQ, quick footwork, evasiveness, and punching power, all of which made him hard to hit in their 2019 encounter. In contrast, Khan found Canelo easier to connect with despite his famed power, and he believes Crawford's movement and timing could make this matchup heavily in Crawford's favor.
Crawford could beat him, because Crawford is a big 147 fighter and is strong as well, which a lot of people don't give him the credit for. I think that fight, if it does happen, as long as Crawford stays away and just boxes and be smart, he can win that fight. I think Crawford's a better fighter than Charlo, and he's a smart fighter as well. He switches and everything, so that would be a very good fight.
I fought them both. Like, what are the differences between them?
Canelo's strong and he's easily hit. Very easily hit, very easily. Compared to when I fought against Crawford, I couldn't hit clean. They both hit hard because, and you could see the strength when I was fighting against Crawford. He is very strong as well. So look, yeah, but why does he need to give that much away? He's pound for pound #1 in the world. Why does he have to go for fighting Canelo?
Oscar de la Hoya, impressed by Crawford's intelligence and agility, has compared his movement to Bruce Lee and fully backs Bud. Together, experts view Crawford as a superior technical fighter.
I want to get your thoughts. Canelo, Crawford, who wins and why?
Well, look, I mean, I've been in this game for such a long time, and I like to say I'm a historian. There's never been a good little man that beats a good big man. It hasn't happened. I mean, the exception is maybe Pacquiao beating me, but that situation, that scenario was like totally different. I was at the end of my career, and I was a shot fighter, and Pacquiao was coming up and he beat me. But a good little man, which would be Crawford, just has never beat a good big man, which would be Canelo. In the history of the sport, it just now if Crawford can do it, Jesus Lord, I mean.
On the Joe Rogan Experience, legendary commentator Jim Lampley gave a detailed ringside-style analysis of the upcoming Canelo versus Crawford fight. He highlighted Canelo's almost unbreakable chin, crediting it not just to toughness but to his equestrian training, which built remarkable lower body strength. At the same time, Lampley praised Crawford, comparing him to a modern-day Sugar Ray Robinson for his balance, power, and complete skill set. He described the matchup as a high-stakes chess game, pitting Canelo's physical resilience against Crawford's refined technique, making it more than a fight, a potential historic moment in boxing.
Fighters that just train using skill, just train skills. Like George
George St. Pierre did that for a certain period of his career.
I wonder if there's anybody left in boxing who trains just using the gym skills. There were a lot of them when I was first involved in the sport who would never have touched a weight.
Right.
You know,
they
subscribed totally to the notion that that was negative.
Right. And the worst case, I mean, they definitely did calisthenics, but that was it. It was just body weight exercises, you know, which brings us to Crawford, which I think is really interesting. The Crawford-Canelo fight.
Beyond interesting. Fascinating.
Fascinating. Because how does Crawford compete with that size? And, you know, we have to recognize, okay, well, when Canelo fought Floyd, it was 152 pounds, right? So he had dropped down, which was a struggle for him, which is why Floyd was so brilliant in getting him to go down to 152, because he knew he would be...
Undefeated light heavyweight David Benavidez breaks down the Canelo versus Crawford matchup with sharp insight, praising Crawford's elite boxing IQ and adaptability, calling him a top fighter with real knockout ability. However, Benavidez warns that moving up 2 weight classes is no small challenge. While Crawford handled power at 154 pounds, facing Canelo's strength at 168 could present a completely different challenge in the super middleweight showdown.
Terrence Crawford, does he have an opportunity to beat Canelo?
I think if anybody has a chance to beat Canelo, I think it's Terrence Crawford. His IQ is on another level. He's a great fighter and he's strong. It's just that it's a lot of weight. I wouldn't be surprised if Terrence Crawford wins. Wouldn't be surprised if he loses. Terrence Crawford, when he went up against the best opposition, like Earl Spence, he showed what level he's on, what type of dog he is. So I don't know. You really have to let these fights play out to see what happens. He might get hurt. That might activate him to come back strong.
Could you still make 68? I
don't want to make 68.
No, I know you don't. Terrence wins 68.
Yeah, well, if that's, yeah.
Renowned trainer Derek James delivers a straightforward warning to Canelo. Speed could determine the outcome. He highlights that Crawford, as the smaller fighter, has faster hands and feet, which he must maintain to stay effective. James notes that while Canelo will need to rely on timing, any mistakes could leave him chasing Crawford throughout the fight. In short, Canelo must attack like a bull and punch accurately, because when Crawford is moving at full speed, he'll always be one step ahead.
Both guys have great attributes, right? That, you know, they do, and I think they have great attributes, and I think that, so you're looking to possibly see a great matchup, a great fight, and one that could be an intellectual fight from Crawford, smart, intelligent fight. And I think Canelo probably has to be the matador in this one.
He has to be the what?
Matador, yeah.
Matador, yeah.
Yeah,
Brian Bemissa McIntyre doesn't mince words. He says Canelo knows how to lose, pointing to his 2 past defeats and claiming that when he hits a barrier, he tends to bow out, something Crawford, undefeated and tactically sharp, would never do. McIntyre praises Crawford's ring intelligence and adaptability, saying he will exploit Canelo's limits with precision and consistency. He sees no weakness in taking down the Mexican star, predicting Crawford will take control by the middle rounds and finish strong. For McIntyre, this fight isn't just a battle. It's a clash of Canelo's vulnerability against Crawford's master plan for dominance.
Terrence and the team, and we know where we need to be by the time we step in the ring. We got the doctors and the scientists and the nutritionists and everybody that's in camp that's going to do their part to get where we need to get.
How much more power does he have?
He got some thudding power up there, and we're just going to sustain it for 36 minutes.
Why do you believe you've got what it takes to come up 2 divisions?
Like I told the other guy, skills pays the bills. You got to have skills, man, to be going up there to fight somebody.
Former world champion turned analyst Chris Algieri lays it out clearly, taking a unique stance. He argues that Terrence Crawford isn't just another opponent for Canelo. He's an elite technician with a sharp strategic mind and unmatched adaptability. Instead of chasing big names, Crawford focuses on fights that define his legacy, and Algieri sees this matchup as the perfect example. Against Canelo, who brings size and experience, Crawford's precise movement, timing, and ring IQ could close the physical gap, turning the bout into more than a championship clash, a true chess match in the ring. Still, not everyone shares this view.
Locks in. He just locks in, especially when you doubt him. So yeah, it's a really interesting matchup. I think of it more from psychological than anything, because on paper it's like, yeah, but he's super middleweight. He went up 3. Now Terrence is going up 3 weight classes. He had a little trouble with Madrimov. So on paper it's like, yeah, of course it's Canelo. But when you think about it from a psychological standpoint, it's like, I don't know, man. Bud's different.
Renowned trainer Abel Sanchez delivers a blunt verdict on the upcoming fight. He believes Canelo will dominate the smaller Crawford, calling the matchup almost absurd. Sanchez points out that Crawford's size disadvantage at 168 pounds, 2 divisions above his usual weight, will leave him vulnerable to Alvarez's constant body and arm attacks, predicting a stoppage between rounds 9 and 12. While Crawford might show quick hands early, Sanchez feels Canelo's power and experience will turn the fight into a one-sided affair, possibly ending in a knockout or a lopsided decision. In his view, this isn't just a fight, it's a rout in the making.
But that's why we have weight divisions. I think that Canelo has proven as he has risen in the weights, he's dealt with the best in his weight divisions that he's at now. He fought Bivol, and Bivol couldn't hurt him. He fought my guy, and my guy couldn't hurt him in 2 fights. The 3rd fight I wouldn't even count as a fight. But to have a guy come up from 140 pounds in such a short period of time, I'm not saying he couldn't have done it. If he'd have taken 3 or 4 years like Canelo did and built up his, not only his strength, but his bulk in the correct way, he would have had a better chance. But to do it in these 14, 15 months that he's done it in, it's going to be difficult for him. I think that it's a tough fight at the first 3 or 4 rounds because of his speed, just like when we took Golovkin to fight Kell Brook.
Who do you think holds the advantage in the Canelo-Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford showdown? Share your thoughts in the comments below.